I think if anything with cases like these, Lucas's situation reminds us of the importance of really critically thinking when allegations like these are made on the internet. We want to support those that are brave enough to come out and tell their stories if an idol has wronged them, but we also don't want to cancel someone and encourage the spread of misinformation before all of the evidence of what actually happened has been released.
I'm saying I don't wanna come down from your love. We'll get lost together like we fight. Don't ever let me come down from your love. From your love. From your love.
Hey everyone, it's Bree here. If you're new here, welcome to my channel, and welcome back if you're a returning subscriber. If this isn't your first time on my channel, you've probably seen my previous videos on the Wavy Lucas allegations. Ever since my last video on Lucas, SM has been radio silent on the issue and hasn't spoke up on whether the allegations were true or false. On top of that, to make matters worse, a South Korean news site recently posted an article stating that Wavy Lucas's flight to China for September 10th, 2021 was cancelled, suggesting that the time of his return to China for promotions is unsure. On top of that, the article also implied that Wavy's plans to return to China in October have also been halted as well. Now, this hasn't been confirmed by SM yet, and I've also seen pictures floating around on the internet of 10 at the Incheon airport on September 10th, so we should take this information with a grain of salt and wait for an announcement from SM, but this rumor is still very unsettling to say the least. However, a user recently reached out to me on Twitter with some interesting information about the allegations. A group of international Loomies, or fans of Lucas, worked with some cyber investigators that they hired themselves and did some digging. And what they found is pretty alarming. In this article, the team of Loomies and investigators claim to have debunked the allegations of all of Lucas's accusers, and even claim to have uncovered some information on who the accusers are. I will link the Soompi community posts and all the other referenced information in the pinned comment. So in this video, I'll cover the investigation and summarize the included evidence in the articles, which give us a bit more insight on the accusers, who they really are allegedly, and the possible motives behind the allegations against Wavy's Lucas. At the end of this video, I'll give you my honest opinion on the article's findings and my opinion on the allegations as a whole based on what we know so far. This video will be a little long with a lot of information, so make sure you watch until the end to understand the full situation. Now let's get right into it. If you've been following the allegations against Lucas, I'm sure you remember Accuser 1, aka Twitter Sheem. So to avoid confusion, let's call them OP1. On August 23rd, OP1 came to Twitter and accused Lucas of gaslighting them, using them for money, and cheating on them. In the next few days, 3 more Chinese netizens accused Lucas of similar allegations on Weibo. Some of the users even shared alleged screenshot conversations between themselves and Lucas, pictures of Lucas himself, and pictures of gifts they claimed to have bought for him, such as a ring and a Balenciaga jacket. After the news circulated and trended on the web, Lucas apologized to his fans for his past behavior on Instagram, and both SM and Label V announced that he would be on hiatus until further notice. Since then, SM hasn't made any statements regarding the allegations, or if they're even investigating the matter, which has left many netizens worried and confused. To get a better understanding of how the allegations unfolded and why they're a bit suspicious, according to the team behind this article, let's take a quick look at the timeline. On August 22nd, a mysterious Twitter account with the handle OK0ZUH3XT5RPOWJ appeared out of nowhere with a few cryptic tweets. Let's call them Twitter user O for short. On August 22nd, Twitter user O made 2 ominous tweets predicting that a popular man with deep dark double eyelids who was born on January 25th will be exposed. They also stated that his company would try to protect him but would fail, and that his fans would leave him one by one. Does this sound like a certain idol we know? Handsome, born on January 25th, 1999. Ringing a bell yet? The fishy thing about this is, according to the account's digital footprint, it was created a day before Sheem or OP1 made their post on Twitter, the first netizen to accuse Lucas. Coincidence? On top of that, Twitter user O signed up with Twitter using a Gmail account, which is pretty strange considering most Korean users use Naver as their mail server domain when they sign up for Twitter. Twitter user O's tweets are also kind of suspicious because they translate perfectly to English when you use the Twitter Google Translate tool. This is pretty strange because Korean is never perfectly translated into English. word for word by Google Translator, and vice versa. This means that this user is possibly not a native speaker and could be someone who's using a translator to tweet in Korean. It's also pretty suspicious that this prediction Twitter account stopped making Twitter predictions a week after it was created, on August 29th. This suggests that the account could have only been created to support Op1's claims against Lucas. The Loomies also found a Twitter account with the handle @8280sorry, which was created on August 21st, 2021, a day before the mysterious Twitter user O's account was created. This user claimed to work for Dispatch, and besides making similar tweets to user O's, making predictions about idols, the user also tweeted on August 31st that the accusations against Lucas are 100% true. However, Loomies investigated and found that the user signed up for Twitter with a Yahoo email account. Why would a Dispatch worker use a Yahoo email account, which is a Western mail server domain? And why was this account coincidentally created a day before mysterious O's account, only to tweet that the allegations were 100% true? It seems like these accounts were working together. Now, let's move on to Op1. According to the digital footprint, Op1's account was created on Thursday, October 22nd, 2015. However, if you check their account, which is still up by the way, you'll see that all of the tweets made leading up to the allegations made against Lucas are deleted. This user wiped their entire previous Twitter history, which suggests they are trying to hide something for some reason. Luckily for us, the cyber investigation team who looked into their account were able to pull up the account's archive, and they found that Op1 interacted with 2 users on October 22nd, 2015, and 1 user on May 2nd, 2017, discussing the buying and selling of K-pop tickets and K-pop events info. You can see some of the users interacting with Op1 here. The team looked into the users that interacted with Op1 and discovered that they have also posted about buying and selling K-pop tickets and event info. So what does this tell us? This evidence shows that Op1 most likely is connected to a network of users who are saucing fan sites, or it could also mean that Op1 is saucing themselves. Like I lightly touched on before, another suspicious thing about Op1 is that they deleted their entire history before October 23rd, the day that they made their allegations against Lucas. However, the team behind this investigation uncovered Op1's deleted tweets between 2015 and 2017, mostly about manga, specifically the BL genre. The most recent tweet that Op1 posted before October 23rd, 2021 was a link for BL books from RiddyBooks.com on October 1st, 2020. Op1 wanted to hide their affiliation to the manga community and deleted their tweets, possibly to avoid anyone from identifying who they are. The investigation team also discovered Op1's Instagram account and did a reverse sign-in to gather information. They discovered that the Instagram account also used a Gmail account, and on top of that used a phone number with a 62 area code. Like I mentioned before with Twitter user O, the prediction account, Gmail domains aren't usually used by Korean netizens since Naver is the most popular service. This is very fishy since Op1 claims to be Lucas's Korean ex-girlfriend. On top of that, 62 is an Indonesian area code, not a Korean one. So why would Lucas's Korean ex-girlfriend use a Gmail account for her Instagram and have an Indonesian area code for her phone? So now let's touch on Op1's allegations that were previously debunked, according to the investigation team. For one, Op1 made a lot of contradictory statements, and I'll include the investigation team's analysis here for you to read. In addition, the WeChats Op1 used seemed to be fabricated due to the gaps between the messages being too wide and of varying measurements, and the dates and times being transparent, all hinting to the fact that the pictures were edited. It's also important to mention that the time that Lucas was supposedly texting Op1, he would have been on a plane with Wayv. On top of that, Chinese fans mentioned that Lucas's Korean is beginner level, but his messages in Op1's WeChat messages depict someone who's an advanced Korean speaker. Fans also discovered that the voice message came from a message Lucas sent to fans on Bubble, and the ring she claimed she bought for Lucas was actually the ring that Win gifted to Lucas. Loomies also discovered that another netizen claimed to have bought the same selfie of Lucas that Op1 included in her post from a Sasang circle. Op1 later made a follow-up post on Lucas showing the dates and times they allegedly met up with him and accusing him of demanding when she was on her cycle. However, firstly, the times that she gave do not correlate with Lucas being in Korea because he was either in Beijing, London, or America at those times. Once again, the WeChat conversations seem to be edited. So the mention of Lucas demanding was pretty ambiguous, with netizens wondering if Op1 was saying that he forced himself on her or pressured her into engaging in, and both of these circumstances would be considered Allegations make this entire situation extremely serious, and it's important to stand with the victims, but we do have to keep in mind that this is the same netizen who provided fabricated evidence in their initial post according to this investigation. So in short, based on the evidence I just revealed, we can conclude that OP1 is probably not Korean at all according to the investigation. On top of that, they used fabricated messages and pictures to support their claims, implying that they may be connected to Sasaeng communities. It's also safe to say that this OP's credibility is lacking a bit, and anything they say should be taken with a grain of salt to say the least. So now let's talk about OP2, Lucas's alleged Chinese ex-girlfriend. OP2 created her Weibo account on August 8, 2019, but no posts were found prior to her allegations against Lucas on August 23, 2021. The investigators discovered that she identifies as a female that is located overseas, not China. On top of that, the WeChat messages she shared look fabricated due to the misaligned chat boxes and text. You can also change contacts' nicknames on WeChat at any time, so Lucas's alleged username here really doesn't mean anything. On top of that, native Cantonese speakers pointed out that Lucas's Cantonese in the messages was kind of unclear, with him often not using the right words and phrases for the appropriate context, which is pretty suspicious considering he's a native speaker. Besides the fabricated text messages, the only other evidence that OP2 provided was proof of her attending concerts and a schedule of when she allegedly met up with Lucas. But honestly, attending concerts or a spreadsheet allegedly showing when you met someone isn't really proof that this OP is somehow tied to Lucas. So let's move on to OP3. The third OP has a Weibo account that was created on December 25th, 2018, and it looks like this user also had no prior activity before the allegations were made on August 24th. However, the user's profile states that they're a male living in Ningxia, China. So how are they Lucas's ex-girlfriend? And if they are, why would they identify themselves as a male on their account? Next, let's talk about the evidence OP3 provided. Like many fans pointed out, the picture of Lucas sitting down with a wine glass looks like it could have been taken in one of Wayv's old dorms. On top of that, the background is drastically blurred, which suggests the OP might have been trying to hide something in the background. The OP claims that this picture was taken in September of 2019, but fans pointed out that Lucas's hairstyle and color suggest that it was taken in 2018, more specifically during the black on black era or before. Remember the brown hair with blonde highlights Lucas had during Boss? The reflection in the wine glass also looks like a man and not a woman, although it's pretty blurry and hard to tell. OP3 also provided dates where they allegedly met up with Lucas, but the Loomies behind this article found that the dates do not match with his schedule at that time. OP3 also posted a picture of Lucas sleeping, which they claimed was taken when they were together. However, this could be a picture taken at his dorm, and the investigation points out that in 2018 to 2019, there was allegedly a Sasaeng working on Wayv's staff team, so it's possible that this photo could have been taken and leaked somehow. Lastly, let's talk about the jacket. OP3 claimed that Lucas asked her to buy a jacket for him and posted photos of the Balenciaga jacket in question. The picture turned out to be taken from a personal shopper's account, and the receipt was taken from Google and edited. If you look closely though, you can see marks of color around the portion of the receipt that's edited, as well as a blurry border around the word Balenciaga. On top of that, an admin running the Marvu London Facebook page confirmed that this jacket can only be purchased in Europe and was purchased from a Balenciaga store there. For context, Marvu London is a clothing brand that supplies Balenciaga among other brands. If OP3 was in China meeting up with Lucas, how could she have bought him a jacket that can only be purchased in Balenciaga stores in Europe, not China? This photo also looks very similar to one that was posted by Marvu London, which was taken at one of their 2 sales stores in Europe. The final accuser, OP4, made allegations against Lucas on 8/28, one day after they created their account. According to their profile, they are a male, but their location isn't specified. Another weird thing to take note of is their username actually includes the date 8/28, which is a little strange. OP4 included WeChat videos of Lucas surfing during a Wavy vlog that was posted on Wavy's YouTube channel, and she claimed that Lucas sent these videos to her, but it could be that this video was either edited or taken unknowingly and sold. We don't really know. The WeChat messages were also edited though. When the color of the screenshot was changed, the text box in the photos became significantly brighter. This means that these photos and text boxes were just added onto a black background. So here's the conclusion of this investigation here. Feel free to pause and take time to read. So, based on this investigation, I'm sure you can see how these allegations are quite suspicious and seem to be fabricated with possibly multiple individuals working together to stage these accusations. In my opinion, I don't think it's a coincidence that all of these allegations came out at once, that the accuser's stories all seem to correlate, and the allegations piled up one after another, only a couple of days apart. So if this isn't true and Lucas is innocent, why did they do it? What motives did the accusers have? I actually posed this question to the Loomies behind this investigation, and they referred to toxic fandom culture, specifically solo stans. This could possibly be a situation where the accusers don't like Lucas for whatever reason, possibly preferring another member of Wayv, and came up with these allegations to bring him down. At first this might seem far-fetched, especially with Lucas being a very popular member of NCT, and you might be wondering why someone would go through these lengths to bring down a K-pop idol. But to this I would refer you to the Woojin situation. Anti-fans do exist, and they do try to sabotage idols. In Woojin's situation, a group of anti-fans planned his downfall, starting from when he left Stray Kids in 2019, and put their plan into action a year later in 2020. Their motive? They were mad that Woojin left Stray Kids and wanted revenge. They posed as anonymous Twitter accounts, accused him of SA, and many people believed them, and even do to this day. Although fans and cyber investigators did research and found out that the accusers were a bunch of Brazilian anti-fans who never interacted with Woojin at all. My point is, although idols are people and are fully capable of doing bad things, whether it's hurting people, committing crimes, or both, solo stans and anti-fan culture are also both very real, and there are people out there who will lie to see an idol fall. I do want to point out though, with Woojin's situation, he denied all of the allegations from the very beginning, and so did his company, 10X Entertainment. He never apologized for any of the allegations. This is the most telling difference. On top of that, compared to Lucas, Woojin got tons more hate, including death threats, the leaking of his phone number, so Woojin definitely got a lot more hate than Lucas is currently getting. So if all of this was so easily debunked and Lucas is allegedly innocent, why did he apologize for his past wrongdoings? Let's say that theoretically, all of the OPs involved made false allegations and Lucas is innocent of the claims they made against him. Maybe he's privately dating and this is damage control, so more true information about him won't come out. Or maybe there are more accusations that we don't know of that are currently being kept on the low. Maybe SM is still investigating or trying to pursue legal action behind the scenes. I think that all of these are possibilities. In addition, if Lucas is innocent, why hasn't SM spoken up yet? The only thing I could think of is the timing. These allegations came out days before Jalapeño's release, and SM opted to push back the release indefinitely. We also have to remember that NCT 127's third album, Sticker, is scheduled to be released next week, September 17th. It could be that SM doesn't want this scandal to affect NCT 127's rollout, so they're opting to let things fully die down and address it after the release. I honestly believe that SM is doing something about this, whether it's investigating or deciding on what to do about Lucas moving forward. Unfortunately, at this time, the only thing we can really do is wait and see. I also want to briefly mention some of the accusations made about Lucas, like that he verbally badmouthed the members of Wayv to one of the OPs, saying that the other members are untalented, are not able to be led, stole modeling jobs from him, etc. Unfortunately, it's really hard to deny or confirm hearsay like this, but I will say that Lucas was scouted and brought into SM, not necessarily because of his talents, but because of his looks. They brought him in to be a visual initially, so I would find it really hard to believe that he said that about other members, considering he got scouted based on his looks, especially with all of the other members of Wayv and NCT being so talented. Illumi actually reached out to me on Instagram about this, and I really appreciate her insight because it's so true. As far as the investigation that the Loomies put into action, first I want to commend them for putting in so much time and effort with this case. I'd prefer to stay neutral and wait to see what happens with this case, but I have to admit, from an objective standpoint, a lot of the evidence that the OPs put forward to support their accusations against Lucas seem to be extremely weak, and there seems to be a lot of holes in their stories, on top of a lot of fabrication involved. The only thing that stuck out to me were the pictures and videos that the OPs released of Lucas that weren't pictures previously seen on Wayv's official social media accounts. It could be that these pictures were purchased from sasaengs or fan sites, but it seems to be a little unclear where the OPs found some of these pictures and where the pictures actually come from. I think if anything with cases like these, Lucas's situation reminds us of the importance of really critically thinking when allegations like these are made on the internet. We want to support those that are brave enough to come out and tell their stories if an idol has wronged them, but we also don't want to cancel someone and encourage the spread of misinformation before all of the evidence of what actually happened has been released. We also need to remember that idols are people capable of doing very bad things, so we can't always be quick to defend them just because we're fans of them. I think if Lucas is guilty of the allegations, or if he has done something wrong, he should be held accountable, and SM will have to decide what exactly that accountability looks like. But ultimately, sometimes neutrality is the best before before you jump on the bandwagon. Look at things logically instead of emotionally. Anyway guys, let me know what you thought about this investigation in the comments. Do you think Lucas is innocent? Do you think Lucas is guilty? Or do you think we should all stay neutral and wait for SM to provide further information? Let me know in the comments below. I'll make sure to update you if any other information about Lucas is released. But if you've made it this far, thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate your support. Make sure to join my Discord server where we have an active thread about Lucas, and we have been keeping each other up to date on it since the allegations initially came out. At this point, we have over 1,000 members and we're pretty active. If you did like this video or found it helpful, make sure to subscribe for more K-pop news and commentary. Thank you so much for watching again, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye!